Hello, hello! Welcome to the stream. David Snowpeck here from Snowpeck Games. Last week, on sort of a whim, because Crabsoft was taunting me, we changed the overlay, which, by the way, is a Godot app that we built on stream a year ago, maybe more than a year ago now, to make the characters fade away, and I'm not sure that I like it. Or at least I think the characters fade away too fast, right? Someone says something, and then a minute later they're gone. Hey, Jin Dobry now. I don't know. I'm debating whether we should like change it on stream to make it like 5 minutes or something. So how's everybody doing? Let me know about your projects. What you guys got going on? Is anybody trying out the Godot 4 beta? I'm excited to hear what folks who haven't been trying the Godot 4 alphas and all of that up until now think of Godot 4. But yeah, now I can't look at the overlay to say hello to everyone, so I will say hello, Upgrade, Ricardo. I already said hi to 9L, Boss MB. For me, for this week, I mean, I've been super busy with work things. And I guess like the main interesting thing that I've been working on is trying to get WebXR into Godot 4, and I've been stuck on this change to in the rendering part of the Godot engine that blocked getting WebXR going, which sucks because like I'm not terribly good at rendering. It's like one of my weaker areas, and so just being stuck on this issue for a month was unfortunate. But it just got merged yesterday evening. And the first Godot, or not the first Godot, the first WebXR patch to get it working at all is now like unlocked from being merged. I'm actually just gonna go look at it to see if maybe it got merged while I wasn't staring at the page and hitting reload all the time. Let me see if anyone's said what they're doing. Oh yeah, Orthodox Caveman, welcome to the stream. I forgot to say hello. Try today, no issues importing project from Alpha 15. That's awesome, actually. I feel like every time there's a new alpha, I have to make at least one change to any of my test projects. Thought you were using some kind of pre-made overlay. Nano says, yeah, we know you're having a new job. Yeah, so I have, as the news has come out a little bit, hey Logan, welcome to the stream. I have a contract doing some work with W4 Games, and I'm super excited about that. It's only been going for the last 2 weeks, but yeah, so much cool stuff is going on in the Godot ecosystem. It's a very exciting time to be a Godottian. Yeah, it looks like my WebXR PR is still hanging out here. Oh, I hope it gets merged soon. I hope it gets merged soon. And then after this, I've got some more stuff that we will probably be working on stream next week. So I said in the description for this stream that this is the last stream that we're going to work on the distraction timer. Not because there's not more things to do on it, but because I think probably you guys are getting bored of the distraction timer. And like I really do need to change gears to focus on getting WebXR working again in Godot 4, since Godot 4 is going to come out presumably quite soon, now that we're into the beta phase. Godottians, that's what we're called, says Upgrade. I don't know if that's like the official word, but I like it. That's what I always say. Did W4 discover and contact you somehow, or you contacted them? So they contacted me, but I mean, the people involved in W4 are, you know, Juan, who I guess I don't know terribly well, but then also Remy and Fabio, who I've interacted with like a ton on the Godot project. So like we knew each other. But yeah. So the other thing that I've been like obsessed with this week, this is not technology related, but I really have wanted to get back into Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if you guys play Dungeons and Dragons. The last time I played it was when I was a teenager, when it was still some version of AD&D. So that was like 20 plus some years ago. But like Logan and his buddies are into D&D, which got me thinking about it. And other people I'd be talking to are doing D&D. So I got like this starter kit, and I'm going to rope my daughters and my wife, I think, hopefully, into playing that with me so that I can relearn D&D. Hey, welcome to the stream, person with Arabic alphabet name. If you tell me how to pronounce your name, I'll say hi to your name, but I unfortunately can't read that. What Logan is saying is not true. Juan did not beg me. That is wrong. That is incorrect. Upgrade says Habibi. Is that how the name is said? Some version of that. Anyway, yeah, I hope everyone is doing good. Yeah, let's make some stuff. So where we were last stream, we was doing some refactoring to get. Hey, the clean, welcome to the stream. Ooh, someone has a question. Please ask your question. I will see it in a moment. We were doing some refactoring. What was the first part of the refactoring we did? There were two parts, and I've already forgotten what the first part was. Oh my God, is my memory that bad? Well, there were two parts. We only did the first part, and then I did the second part off stream. I remember what that is. I was going to refactor the UI to use proper state machine using my personal state machine library that I take from project to project. I started doing that, and then I just felt like the state machine add-on I was using was overkill. So I'm still using the enum based state machine, but it is refactored so that the state machine, there's like a dedicated function for state machine transitions. Let me find that. And I added a whole lot more states. So we have this change state, which we're using for all of the state transitions rather than bespoke, like enabling and disabling buttons and setting text and stuff. So the state machine is all centralized, and now the state machine only affects the UI, so that we can change the state based both on like button presses and on data coming from the server. And there's now just like a way more states. I think we used to have 3 states, which was like stopped, started, and interrupted. And when I actually looked at the UI and trying to put everything for the UI into the state machine, it turned out that there was just way more states. Like when an invalid activity name is put in, like we disable a whole bunch of buttons, and when we're in the process of stopping the timer, we disable some stuff while the messages are going to the server. But yeah, oh, I forgot to give kind of like a description of the project in general. Like what this is it's a mobile app that's going to be you can have on your phone to track to try and help you focus better, right? So the idea is you have some activity like work, which you want to focus on and not, go off and check your email or look at Twitter or whatever. So you start the timer when you're doing this task that you want to not get distracted during. I'll show it here. So work. And then if you do get interrupted and you want to go look at your email for like a minute, you hit interruption, you go look at your email, hit back to work, at some point stop the timer. And the idea is it'll give you some kind of score for how focused you remained, with the idea that just tracking it and giving a score will motivate you to not get distracted in the first place. I also have some ideas that I don't know if I'll implement, but like we could have it where when you hit the interruption button, like it's blinking red and there's like an alarm going like brr, brr. So it's just like when you're in this mode, you got to get out of this mode fast. I don't know if we'll actually do that. But yeah, so the focus for today, and then I'll go see what's going on in comments because I haven't been looking. I'm sorry about that. The focus for today is I want to add a login screen. Right now, I just have like my user's username and password hard-coded in there, which we do not want, and some way to look at the data. And then I think I can open source this, and you guys can check it out if you are interested. Maybe you can help me get in a little further along, since it's not very advanced here, and it just turns out there's just so much to do here. But yeah, that's our goal for today. Should be relatively straightforward stuff, I hope. So let me go see what's going on in chat. Oh yeah, thank you, Boss MB. That is the other refactor we did. We moved the autocomplete UI element into a separate scene with the idea that I could use this on other projects, making it easier to copy into other projects. I make 3D game in Godot, and I went to make drag screen for Android. How do you do it? Drag screen for Android. I'm not entirely sure I know what you mean by drag screen for Android. Like you want to have, so it's like a first-person 3D game, and you want to like touch and drag to move the camera, that kind of thing. That's actually a relatively straightforward thing to do. Oh, you don't want to look at Twitter right now. What's going on in Twitter? I know. You can't say something like that. What is happening on Twitter? Yeah, that's what I think too, as far as what he means. But if that is what you mean, that's pretty simple. So you'd be rotating on 2 axes, depending on whether your drag was in the X or Y direction, and then just apply that to the camera matrix, I think. Anyway, let's do some stuff here, guys. I guess first, let's make a new scene. We're making a new scene for login. I feel like I make login screens like all of the time. I'm quite tired of making login screens. Maybe we want this to be a control, actually. If the timer one is a control, we'll make this one be a control. Change type to a control. And probably a VBox situation. I keep looking at the timer because I kind of want everything to look the same, so I'm checking to see how we did the timer. So we did a VBox container there as well. I guess we probably want to put kind of a label at the top, similar sort of thing. I'm just going to copy this status label. Put it here or not. There we go. This will be like title label. And let's set some of our sizing flags. Let's get this looking right. Size flags. Been doing a lot of Godot 4 lately, and I like the way that the size flags and anchors and stuff have changed in Godot 4. Is confusing me going back and forth to Godot 3 and Godot 4. Why is this not doing what I think it should be doing? Okay, I guess I need to set the root node to full rect as well. There we go. And I don't want this to be a scene unique node. And we'll just have this say distraction timer for now. Hey, the buddy Adrian, welcome to the stream. Wait. What is your tweet, Dino? What was your tweet that you put on Twitter that... You're making me nervous, Dino. What is happening on Twitter? Okay, and then we need, I guess for mobile, we probably want to have the labels above the input boxes. Nano asks a question about future console support. How a Godot user W4 client will be able to test, say, their Switch port game without direct access to a dev kit. Will the QA process be handled by some W4 employees? Okay. So that is your question. That's not that scandalous. I don't know that one will be able to answer you at this point in time, but I think it's a fair question to ask. Username label, password label. Add some line edits here. Another thing that we're going to have to figure out for this is how to remember the login. I've been doing quite a bit of stuff with Supabase lately, and I don't think there is like some token that we can save to remember your login. So I think what we'll have to do is store the username and password somewhere. And the way that I usually do that is I'll encrypt a file with some key that's in the app, and store the username and password there. It's not proper secure because the encryption key is inside of the app, so someone could like extract it from the app and then unencrypt the file with the username and password saved. But it is much more security in the sense that the most likely thing that's going to happen with your device is you'll get some kind of virus that's just going to like take everything off the file system, and nobody is going to know that this file is for this particular like app and how to extract the password, and so it will make it safer, quite a bit safer. But I don't think we can do much better than that. I think that's the best that we can do in this particular situation. It would be nicer if Supabase gave us some kind of token that expired after a period of time that we could like use to that like represented our session that we could use to log in each time, and then logging in each time would like sort of make that token live a little bit longer. And maybe there is something like that, but I just couldn't find it. So we'll do what we can do. Or actually, I think Supabase uses emails. So say email, password. I feel like these are too small. On the timer, did we make them bigger? Or am I just zoomed out? Yeah, so I kind of want this to appear in the middle. So maybe what we need to do is put a VBox in the VBox. Is that a good way to do it? Another option is putting little dummy controls. Put little dummy controls here. I could say spacer 1, spacer 2, and then have these expand, which should push our login thing to the middle. I don't know if that even actually looks good. But all right, let's add some buttons here. We will need 2 buttons. We're not going to make this a very sophisticated login screen. We're just going to have a button for sign in and a button for login, or sign up and a button for sign in. I hate when the words are so similar. We could call it, we'll say create account button and login button. Create account, login. We need these to also expand horizontally, and I want to move them up here. With that Twitter thing going on, I meant that we basically have the current conflict fights with the pro here and pro there sides. You know what I mean? I guess I don't know what you mean, man. Maybe I'm better just not knowing, staying out of the Twitterverse. Yeah, and I just feel like these need to have more space around them. I guess we could do that by changing the separation constant for the VBox. That's too much. I don't like that at all. Maybe what I'm feeling like I want is I want these fields to be bigger. So we'll set a bigger Y min size. Or not 30, it's got to be bigger than 50. Let's say 75. That looks a little nicer. And what I kind of want is for there to be just like a bigger separation between each of the pieces in here, but not all of the pieces as a whole, because I want those labels to be near to the email. So maybe what I need to do is put each of the username field and label in their own VBox. Go like this. And put another VBox. Oh, so you're talking about Ukraine. Is that there's some forecasts that will all end next year, so that's nice. Yeah, I'm probably we should not get into our our feelings about Ukraine on a game dev stream, but yeah, that's something that weighs on me personally quite a bit. This is looking a little better. Let's make these buttons the same size. 75, I think, is what we did. That is a respectable first pass at a login screen here. I don't like how far down this is. I mean, it's centered, but I don't like it. I kind of want to move. Let's assign this spacer a specific value here. 150. Yeah, and it's too close to the margin too. Did we deal with that over here? How did we deal with it over here? Oh, we had the VBox container be a little bit inset. How far do we have it inset? 15? Okay, actually, let's save this before I forget to. So this is one of our main scenes. We'll make a folder for it. Login. And now let's do what we saw over there. So we need to -15 on the right and bottom, and +15 on the right and or the top and left. And maybe put a little bit of spacing between these two buttons. There. Totally temporarily acceptable. I don't think we need to have like a checkbox for remember me. This is your mobile phone. You always want it to remember you. I don't see any reason why on a like personal computing device you wouldn't want it to remember you. Let's make this a little bigger. And I was wondering if everything that W4 is currently working on applies to Godot 4, Godot 3 will get some goodies. That is also a totally valid question that I will not answer. I don't know really like what information is what all information is privileged and not privileged, so I'm just gonna say nothing. I'm gonna say nothing. Kind of feel like there should be a little bit more space between the whatever. I'm done messing with space. Let's move on. I'm gonna add a script. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to do a couple things before we get to this script. So in the timer script currently, we just are like authenticating with Supabase right up here. But do we need some kind of global to hang on to? We might not. It might actually be, Supabase might be handling this for us. We might be able to just authenticate and then that carries over. I think that should work. So let's go back to our scene here. Oh, I forgot to make this be the password be a secret field. And I do I want to do something with text entered? I'm just gonna not for now. Let's have the create account pressed button take us here, and we are going to copy this code from here. Oh, this error pop-up, that probably needs to be on the timer scene. We have this accept dialog that we're using as like this pop-up. That probably does need to go to an auto load so that we don't need to copy this into every single main scene that we're doing. So let's make a autoload folder under source. And we're going to make a new scene here. We're going to call this globals. I usually like to split up my autoloads to like what their purpose is, but in this case, this app is going to be hopefully so small that that won't be a thing. And let's copy. Can I make an autoload be a node 2D, or does it have to be a normal node? I'm actually not sure. Let's just try this for now. Let's get merge from scene. We'll copy in. Oh, where did I just save this? Okay, good. I saved it in the right spot. Go to the timer. We're going to grab our accept dialog. And there it is. And we're going to need to add a script here. And before I forget to add it to the autoloads, I'm going to do that. Hey, the buddy Adrian, welcome to the stream. Or I already welcomed you, didn't I? Did I or did I not? Were you here earlier? Without you guys on the overlay, I don't even know. Well, either welcome to the stream or double welcome to the stream. Adrian thinks it can be any kind of node in an autoload. Awesome. Hey, Pixelmate Graphics, welcome to the stream. How did I come up with the idea for the distraction timer? So I have a calorie tracker app on my phone, which at different times, I'm like totally falling off the wagon right now, but at different times I've committed to like entering everything I ate into the calorie tracker. And even without setting any kind of goal, just seeing the numbers made me eat less calories, right? And avoid like junk food and stuff. And so the goal here is like tracking how focused or distracted I am will motivate me in that kind of subtle way that getting a score motivates you to be more focused. So let's add the globals. And I guess I'll put that below Supabase because I think we might end up needing to use some Supabase stuff. If you were really rich and planning to make a serious multiplayer MMO, would you rent a building and make a server hosting infrastructure there, or would you still pay some hosting service domain to handle all of that? So what is your pre-existing situation? So if you're like launching into the world and this is like your first big multiplayer game, I think you kind of have to rent the hosting from somewhere else. I mean, maybe if you had just an egregious amount of like investment capital or something, you could bring up your own, you know, co-locations or not co-locations, your own like dedicated environments. But that requires just a huge amount of capital. I think like I read an article that Riot Games has all of their own infrastructure for their multiplayer games. And I believe they even have like their own, they like built their own, you know, miles long cables between some of their data centers, which is just crazy. But it is, assuming you have a big enough operation to justify it and have the staff to maintain it, it is much cheaper to have your own servers. But again, like it's cheaper assuming you are already going to spend like $1 million a month or something on it, like a huge amount of money. Anyway, let's copy some code from the timer to the globals. We need to, where the heck, where's our show error here? Yeah, cool. Then I remembered the right thing. Upgrade also read that article. Refactoring the question. When making a social media, not exactly a Facebook clone, but something of that fashion, wouldn't hire a hosting service be a little risky? Risky in what sense? you know, with like if you're going to use AWS, which I don't necessarily recommend, their prices can be a little weird. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing, right? But yeah, you have so many factors. But like, let's say you're getting hosting from AWS. They have data centers all over the world, and in the individual regions they have data centers. They frequently have multiple data centers. And I forget what they call those, but it's like I can be in Virginia East A, B, or C, and those are actually different physical buildings, different locations. You have the ability to quickly and easily set up a ton of redundancy, such that if there's a big outage in Virginia, you'll have your other servers in Oregon, or if there's only one of those data centers in Virginia goes down, and you have stuff in both A and B. The thing is, every time there's like a AWS outage, and people say like, "Oh, AWS messed up the one job that it had," blah blah blah. It's because people, for some reason, don't take advantage of this very easy redundancy, right? I remember a bunch of years ago that S3 went down in Virginia East, and everyone was freaking out, right? Why did you not like copy your data also to the Oregon data center? Because like not only is that super easy to do, like if you're going to do it manually, there's actually like built-in stuff in S3. There was like some XML whatever policy stuff you could copy and paste into the S3 dashboard that would automatically copy everything you put into S3 in Virginia into also some other place. And if people had just taken advantage of that fact, that outage would have had no effect whatsoever. But for some reason, people freaked out that it was Amazon's fault. And maybe, they did something wrong, but like you have to accept that acts of God will happen, that human beings are fallible, and the only true solution to that is redundancy. And if you chose to somehow believe that Amazon had magic, special magic that other people don't have or something to make this one data center never have a problem ever, like that's just wrong. That's just incorrect thinking. But they give you all of the tools to easily spread your stuff between these multiple data centers, which is just like lines of code, right? It's so easy to do, but people just don't take advantage of that. Oh, 9L saying, what is S3? S3 is a service. Yeah, Boss MB's got it. It's where you can like put files up in the cloud, and a ton of services depend on it. Anyway, what was I doing? We were refactoring a little here, weren't we? So show error. We need to copy the code from show error. Where is the code for show error? How did I not see it? Func show error. There it is. We are going to copy this to globals, and we're not going to name it with an underscore anymore, because this is now a public method of this autoload. And we are going to go through timer, and we are going to replace, here, we'll do this. Let me find one example of show error that I can look at. And I'm going to write a regex. We're going to change show error to show error. And do it. There we go. Okay. Is there a good way to test that? I guess we could have the login button here just show an error. Say globals show error stream. That's the error. Ooh, the method show error isn't declared in the current class. Oh, I forgot to put globals in front of it. Okay, timer. Let's do another regex. Show error needs to become globals show error. There we go. Get rid of this one. I guess I'll do it from here. Oh, and we need to change the main scene. We want to start with the login scene. Cool. What is funny is the fact that Netflix is using or used to use AWS, being the direct competitor of Amazon Prime. I mean, are they competitors? So I'm going to go way off on a business tangent here. This is why I need the distraction timer. Netflix provides a premium video service, so they need people to sign up for Netflix. Amazon provides Amazon Prime, for which Amazon Prime Video is a value add, right? It's an ooh, and also you get these videos, right? I don't know that they're competitors. I mean, in Amazon doesn't really care if you watch Amazon Prime. They just want you, or Prime Video. They just want you to sign up for the Prime membership as a whole. Anyway, we want to launch this. Click this, and that's not right. Okay, let's go over here and figure out what we need to do to get this to appear on top. So it makes sense that it's appearing below because it's higher up in the scene tree. If you look at the remote, oops, I went to the wrong screen. If you look at the remote scene tree, we have globals appears above login. So of course it's going to appear, its children will appear below these ones. The thing is, do we have something in the inspector I can do, or do we have to mess with a property? I know there's some kind of Z order layers thing, which I think is on canvas item. There is a Z-index kind of thing. There is a Z-index kind of thing, isn't there, for all canvas items? Let's find out. Or we're gonna have to put a canvas layer on our globals and then use the canvas layer to say our Z order. That might be what we have to do, actually. Yeah, I think that is what we have to do. Boss MB says Supabase uses S3 for its storage feature. Yeah, I think it's actually, I think there's a plugin system in Supabase that you can say, where do I want the files to go with the Supabase file storage? And S3 is one of the options, and probably the right option if you're making a serious service, since you don't necessarily want to have to deal with backing up those files and managing disks and all that crap yourself. Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to go back to globals, local scene tree. We're going to put a canvas layer, which actually maybe globals should be a canvas layer. Let's try that. Canvas layer. And we're going to need to change this from Node2D up here to canvas layer. And let's try layer 2. See what that does. Hey, there we go. We now have a canvas layer that is above the default canvas layer. And that should be good. Now let's actually do some login. Which I'm going to copy this code from here. Take that over to globals. And it's not exactly right. Hang on, let me have a place to paste the login code to. So that was actually code to log in, which is very, very, very similar to the code to, oh, that's confusing, for the code to sign up. We just changed sign in to sign up. Okay. Yeah, Nino caught the canvas layer thing that took me a minute to catch. So using Minio on an open source alternative S3, but after some research I realized I was wrong. As you said, you can choose which service you want to use. Okay, so go back to our scene. We need to make our username field and our password field scene unique. And we are going to on ready var grab them. So we'll say username field, which I guess is actually email, but that's fine. Username field and password field. And then we can grab this here. Username field text. Password field text. And we'll copy paste that down here. And we can get rid of this. What we're really going to need to do is on a successful login, we need to change to the timer scene. So that's get tree, change. I always forget which one takes a path and which one takes a packed scene. Which one is this? This one takes path. All right. And we will make a little constant here. This will be timer scene path, which is source main timer capital TSCN. All right, timer scene path. So this is definitely, I think this is likely everything we need for initial sign-in. We'll test it. I think that's my password. Oh, what is that error? I just figured out that error earlier. When I set up a local instance of Supabase. So did I press sign in or did I press create account? Hang on. So let's try, I don't know if it's case sensitive. Let's try login. So that didn't work. Let's try we'll do dsnowpack +1. Let's try create account. It appears to be working. Okay. I think what happened is my local instance of Supabase like had its accounts wiped. I think that's what happened. We can actually log in and see. Let's do that. So for folks who might be interested in messing with this on their own, I put a README file in here, which will be, once we make this public, which we can do on stream if we get that far, with instructions on how to run like your local instance of Supabase and load the database into it. And I think I was testing these instructions and wiped out my database. But the Supabase CLI tool is actually really, really cool. It can import your database, then you can make changes on your local database, and then have it generate migration scripts that can then run on production, which is really, really cool. And I haven't had a chance to test that workflow. Maybe we will on stream, depending on what we get to. But yeah. Upgrade is watching the stream rewound. I do that accidentally sometimes too when I'm watching streams. So let's log into Postgres. We can run Supabase status and get info for this local Supabase instance. I'll just hit enter a bunch of times to move that up. Or maybe here's what I'll do. I'll clear the terminal and then do it again. And then we can do psql and just copy this database URL. And I think that's an auth something. I do DT that only show public. How do I show in auth? Can I do that? Nope. Oh my gosh. What is the name of the table? How do I get it to tell me the table's on a different schema? Let's do this a different way. Let's not do it on the command line. Let's go into the Supabase admin console, which I think is at 54323. Yes. So this is the admin console for my local instance of Supabase. It's basically the same as the one over on supabase.com. And we can come check out the auth schema, users. Oh no, there is a dsnowpick user. That'd be really lame if that was just it complaining that I typed the password wrong, because that's a horrible error. We may just have to hide the error that we get back from the server and just say unable to log in the error message. Let me try, I'm going to try deleting my user. Or no, what I'll do is I'll try logging in as that's this new user, but typing the wrong password. Let's try that. So dsnowpick+1 at gmail.com. Login. Oh, I typed the right password. Okay, this time again, but I'm going to type the wrong password. So I can just type anything. Just don't type anything close. Okay. Yeah, okay. Wait. It appears to succeed and then fail at this stage? What's going on here? How can we provide a user-friendly experience? Oh, it's missing the return statement. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Or dsnowpick+1. Some junk. Unable to sign in, invalid grant, invalid login credentials. That is a much nicer error. Not the nicest. Let's see what this actually is. Let's print out this task error and see what it is. Maybe it's an object we can pull like just the friendly part of it out. I'm not sure. Or another way to do this actually, we can set a breakpoint. We'll set a breakpoint after the print in case the print turns out to actually be better. Why did that breakpoint not work? Oh, because I launched it the wrong way. Hang on. Let's launch it from VS Code, which I guess I actually have to configure. Okay. Okay, here we're hitting the breakpoint. We have task. Task has error. Error has a type and a description. And this dictionary, error, invalid grant, error description. Okay, cool. So this error is like the code that identifies this type of error, and then this is like the description. So if we wanted to provide our own error for the situation, we could look for invalid grant and then write our own thing out, or we could just take this description. We would have to take this and make our own message if we wanted to like localize this app, for example. But I'm not thinking about localization right now. I'm just have that on my brain because I just did all that localization stuff for my Retro Tank Party game. All right, so what we actually want to print out is error. I'm a little confused if this means description. Yeah, I'm confused about the way that this is shown in this window about exactly what the property name is, but we'll try this. And let's mute our breakpoint. We will continue. And then try again. Does it auto-load it? It does not. We'll have to start this again. Unable to sign in, invalid login credentials. We could maybe even just get rid of the unable to sign in, although what if the message isn't that and is something terrible? But I think it's fine. It's fine. All right, so we have login and sign up. What we don't have is, well, I just want to check something really quick. If I sign up, am I immediately logged in, or do I need to sign up and then log in? I think it immediately signs me in, but I just want to double check. Create, and then I can start doing things right away. Things. All right. Cool. So now we need to deal with the saving our username and password, that situation. So what I usually do for this is I make an autoload called build, which contains our encryption key. Or I guess it can be a const. So we'll say password encrypt. No, what should we call it? Actually, what did I call it in Retro Tank Party? Encryption password? All right, that sounds fine. Encryption password. Encryption password. And we'll just put in dev. I think that's what I did for Retro Tank Party as well. Yep. And then we will have in our CI, our GitLab CI stuff, when it's actually making the builds of the app, it will replace that with some good password that's stored secretly in GitLab. Again, this isn't perfect security. What the heck? Copy and paste you. Because you can extract the encryption password from the PCK that Godot generates, but we're going to sort of we're going to put in a tiny roadblock that will hopefully prevent the majority of people from like putting in the effort to go over that roadblock, which is definitely better than just putting the password in plain text. Maybe let's capitalize because I like having constants capitalized. Does this make sense to do? Oh, actually, I guess that's why it's a variable, because I'm doing this thing with local. Maybe I'm just going to copy everything from Retro Tank Party, because I put a lot more thought into this when I was working on Retro Tank Party. And rather than starting over and learning all the same lessons again, I'm going to copy what I did there, even if I don't end up using it for this super simple app. Okay, and then we need some code to actually save the username and password, and to save and load it. So we'll put that in globals as well. I'm debating whether we want to like always load it or keep it in memory. I think we're going to keep it in memory. So we'll say saved username, saved password, and we will write some methods here. We'll say load saved credentials, and I may go steal this again from Retro Tank Party. I love stealing code for myself. It is the most satisfying thing. So this would be in login screen, I think. Something screen. Session screen. Session setup. Oh, of course, I have like the full Godot source code in this project. So that's connection screen, and what is your associated script? Connection screen here. So load credentials, save credentials. We'll copy this code and modify it. I think we want to do it a little bit differently. Oop. Of course, copy and paste, fail. Take two. All right, so load, we'll say saved credentials. Or no, that's weird, because then we'll have to say saved credentials. Okay, load credentials, save credentials. And we'll say saved username equals result.result. Same for the password. And then in reverse, I guess, yeah, we need to set a constant for credentials file name, which is going to be something under user. Again, I'll steal the file name from RetroTank Party, which RetroTank Party has to have these two because there was a short period of time before the credentials were encrypted, and I had to have sort of like a migration path. Oh, come on. Copy and paste. There we go. Oh, and we need to add build as an autoload. And we need to say saved username, saved password. Let's go to Godot, add that autoload. That needs to go above globals. Okay. I hope this isn't like the most boring project ever, guys. Folks are certainly participating a lot less than usual. Oh, and our eyeball counter, if that's accurate, is also less than usual. Man, okay. This is a sign. This is a sign that I need to move on from doing this project on stream. It will be more exciting, I hope. It'll be different. It'll be different when we switch to working on WebXR. Okay, so now we just need to integrate this up here. We'll add in, or hang on, one more thing. In this globals, we want to have an onReady that will automatically load credentials. And why is it taking the file instead of just... That's a little weird. I don't want it to work like that. Let's do this. We'll read. That should be good. Yeah. And then in our login, we want to have this do a ready that will check if we have a saved username and password, and if we do, attempt to just use them right away. So we need to do if globals saved. I don't know why it's not auto-completing that. Okay, saved username does not equal empty string, and globals saved password. Oh, now it's auto-completing. Sweet. Then we are going to, I guess we'll write them to the UI in case the user does have to, in case it fails and then the user has to like retype their password or something. So we will do username field text equals globals saved username password field text globals saved password. Oop, I mistyped up here. Globals, not global. And then I guess we can just do on login button pressed. Although we do have a state thing going on here. We have two different UI states, one where people are able to enter stuff and press buttons, and one where they aren't. And we should probably show some kind of like loading indicator. I don't feel like implementing that right now. Let's do this the simpler way. We'll add some internal functions here. It'll be like deactivate UI, which is going to mess with the username. Or actually, hang on. There's a shorter way to write this. So we'll say activate UI active. That sounds better. Say username field editable, right? Editable equals it's editable if we are active. So we'll do that for the password field. Editable equals active. And then for the buttons, we need to get references to the buttons. We'll make those be scene unique names as well. And put some on readies for them too. So this will be create account button, create account button, and login button. Yeah, I wonder if I can just put a colon on here to get the autocomplete. I don't know if that's enough. I could always type the types. There's line edits and fields, but it's annoying not having line edits and buttons. It's annoying not having autocomplete. Ugh, so lame. Okay, I'm gonna go type the types. Okay. Now are you gonna autocomplete for me? Still no. Whatever. And we also want to disable the create account button. Okay, so we have an activate UI and a deactivate UI, or maybe that's a bad name for them. Maybe it should be like start loading and stop loading, but whatever. We'll roll with this for now. Deactivate UI, which just calls activate UI with false. And so on the start, we say activate, or no, I'm sorry, deactivate. We start with deactivate. And then here we activate, and then, yeah, because we're only going to need to reactivate it if there's an error. So we deactivate, and reactivate, and we don't need to print this anymore. All right, so theoretically, we've done all the things for it to save our username and password. Let's try it. Disabled on base instance. Isn't that what it is for a button? Disabled? Disabled. Oh, on null instance, so it's not getting it. It's not getting the login button. Ooh, I mistyped button. It's 2 T's. All right, let's try again. Oh, and we need to save the password on a successful login. I forgot to add that bit. So maybe we need another private method so that we don't have to have the successful case for the 2 buttons be duplicated all the time. We'll say say successful login, and we will call globe, or wait, hang on, we need to save the fields to the globals fields. Okay, so globals, saved username field text, saved password field text, globals, save credentials, wasn't it? Credentials. Again, the autocomplete is malfunctioning. Save credentials, yep. Okay. So that should be everything we need to do once we actually call this method. Trying to just get it to repeat my action, but I must have done something. All right. Take 2, take 3, something like that. All right, did I mistype? Yeah, I think we established that I don't actually know what my credentials are. Okay, so now we're here. Let's just check that the timer works. It appears to. Let's exit out. And then now when we start the app, it should not ask me to log in. It should just immediately switch. Or maybe it'll show the login screen for a moment with none of the buttons being pressable, and then switch to the timer because it has to actually log in. Yep. So that's one of the reasons why we could really use like a loading indicator on top of that. When we do it on the connecting to the actual server rather than the just local Supabase instance that I have, it will take longer. So that we'll be seeing this this page a little bit longer. But is that all we need to have a login screen, guys? Am I missing anything? I can close RTP. We don't need that anymore. I think we're good, at least on the login screen. So let's commit this to Git and move on to the next thing. Oops. The thing that working on this app is like really like driven home for me is that no matter how simple an application is, it's just a ton of work to cover all of the cases and make something that's like polished and has all of the things. Because this app, honestly, could not be simpler. It's a timer that writes to a Postgres database. But I have put, I don't know, 20, 30 hours or something into this so far. And when I look at like all the next things that I would want to get done for it, it's just a lot of effort. None of it is hard. None of it is difficult, but just doing the work for any app, even the simplest one, is just a lot. Okay. This all looks good to me. We will commit it. Say added login screen. My guy looks so lonely going around on the screen. I also miss being able to like really look at people's characters and comment on them. But like they come and they go so fast that I didn't really get to see anybody. I just see my little mohawk guy going. Anyway, yeah. Let's make this public on GitLab. Distraction timer. And then we will add some way to actually view the data, which there's a lot of things we could do there too. visibility, public. It's in the world. Oh, and I can remove this test supabase junk. Remove that. Moved old test scene. There we go. So, if this seems useful to anyone else, you can get at it. I did on a stream promise that I would publish it to Google Play at some point, which I'd still like to do, but like I don't know when I'm actually gonna do it. So this is the quickest way to get it if it's something that interests you. So now I'm gonna have to do a tiny bit of design work. Where's my sketch? So some like slick reports would be really nice, but just getting the basics of showing recent timers, I think is like the first thing that we need. So I'm thinking we will have I don't know, timers, and then like a row for each. What did I press? A row for each item. We could say like we need to show like when it was. So we could say like today. Ooh, my handwriting is terrible. And then we would say like what the activity is, work. It would be nice to somehow show the time that it happened, but in like a really abbreviated way. Maybe that actually would be better. Maybe that actually be better. Ooh, this is tedious. Can I like group select those without dragging this whole thing around? We might be switching to doing our notes in Krita. Nope, that didn't do what I wanted. Well, let's just get rid of this whole thing. And all that matters is like what's happening on an individual row, right? So we have the row, and maybe we say the time in front like 8:30 a.m. and then the activity, and then the most important part here will be like we need to know the focus time and the distraction time. So we need the total time and how much of the time we were distracted, something like that. So like say like 4 hours, and then the distraction time like 32 minutes. And maybe some kind of score, which maybe the score is like the inverse of the percentage of the time that was spent distracted. So in 4 hours, that is an eighth of the time, which would be 87.5 of the percent of the time was focused, something like that. I'm probably doing the math wrong, but we'll just say we'll get a score of 86, whereas 100, of course, would be perfect focus. It'd also be interesting to know the number of distractions. So maybe it would be like 32 minutes, and then like down here 8, something like that. So 32 minutes over 8 individual distractions. And of course, it would be good to have a way to edit and delete these, because I'm sure I'll get them wrong when using the app. But something like that. Does that look good to you guys? If anyone's still watching, if everyone hasn't left in sheer boredom. Hey Phil Do, welcome to the stream. I'll take a chance to look at your character before it vanishes. Looks like you might got some chainmail and a sweet beard. How do you plan on doing the actual tracking? Is this something automated or is it like a chess timer? More like a timer. So the app so far looks like this. So you would say I'm doing work and I am now in my focused work time. If I get interrupted, I start the interruption timer. I finish my interruption, my looking at Twitter for 2 minutes, say I'm going back to work, and then finish the timer later. And as I mentioned early on in the stream, I think it would be really cool to, when you go into interruption mode, to have like your phone just like blinking red and like making crazy noises to just like, I don't know, make you crazy. To get back to make you really want to get back to work. Oh, upgrade is still here. So yeah, we need some sort of output of that of this nature. So that probably needs to be on a separate scene. The question is, how do we get to that scene? Need to add something to our timer here because this is kind of like the main area. So maybe we need some other buttons that well, okay, so we're gonna need a lot of other things actually. It would be good to have a way to like edit the activity names and maybe get rid of old activities that you no longer want in your dropdown. It would be good to have a button to log out. It'd be good to have some kind of settings. I don't know what all the things we are going to want. Oh, I can delete this accept dialog. That can go away. But for now, what do we need? For this exact moment, we need a way to look at old timers, and we need a way to log out, right? And what is the simplest, not terrible way we could add that to the interface? I guess we could just put some buttons towards the bottom. I mean, the logout button is really unimportant in the grand scheme of things, but I mean, I want it. For me. Phil Do says, I've long had a similar idea for a whole suite of tools, but the twist is centered around physical buttons, like those Amazon Buy More buttons. Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's so many cool things that we could build for ourselves, like, because we're software developers, right? We could make all these tools to make our lives better, but I just never seem to get around to it. This is when I water my plant. This is when I brush my teeth. Yeah, that is interesting. So then what would be the output of that? Like, I could think of a couple of ideas, like making sure that you're staying on top of those things, but then also maybe building like some sort of graph of your daily habits and like the shape that makes. I don't know if that makes any sense. Okay, so we just need to make this thing work. I'm just gonna add some buttons that are aligned to the bottom here. We could even make them go horizontally to make this a little different. Does that make sense? We also have this space in here too. I wonder, so mobile apps really like scrolling, right? That's the thing. What if instead of having a separate screen, we just had the whole area down here was like, we just scroll through the history, and then Where are we going to put the log out button though? Okay, let's go log out button. Not container, that's not what I meant. I meant control. I'll call this spacer. Upgrade is resynced to the live feed. Cool. You didn't miss much, Upgrade. We were making a login screen. It's one of the more boring UIs to ever build. Different visualizations correspond to templates. It just plots over time. Streaks for days not missed. Oh, streaks. Streaks are powerful, man. When you're like, it's been 80 days since I've missed it, like not wanting to break that and go back to 1. That's huge. That's huge. The physical button placer on all your house. Yeah, so the physical buttons, you could maybe do like Raspberry Pis or something to actually communicate to the whatever data source this is. Seem to make the timer more central to the whole interface. This is the focal point of the app. Yeah, so I had some ideas and for how the timer could actually be visualized. Here, let me. The one idea that I would love would be some kind of like pie chart. Let's make a new. Like I think it would be really cool if we had when you start the timer, it becomes like a circle that puts the actual time in the middle. So like, okay, we're 12 minutes, or that's not 12. That was about to be 10. We're 12 minutes and 32 seconds in, and then like let's say this whole area is green, and then each time we put in an interruption, it would like draw like a little sliver in it. And then of course as the time goes on, like those slivers would maybe get smaller because the it's just a smaller portion of the overall time. But like the time that represents focus could be green, and the time that represents like distractions could be red, so that like as you keep putting more distractions in here, you're like putting these cracks within your perfect focus. I think that would be really cool. And you know, I'm imagining we're doing this with a shader, right? So we could also make like maybe it could like pulse like every second. The timer could pulse. Something like that I think would be amazing. But yeah, I haven't gotten to that point yet. I just want it to work so I could start using it, because that's the real shame here. I've been building this thing for how long now? This is like the 4th week we've been doing it on stream, and I still can't use it. It's still not good enough to actually use. So, yeah. Regarding Raspis, yeah, exactly. Arduino, yeah, just like a ton of little buttons. Upgrade. I think one idea is to make it landscape after you start the timer and make it look like a digital clock with a black background and white timer for extreme minimalism and less distracting. That's actually a really good point. Making a big pulsing circle is probably very distracting. Yeah, maybe the pulsing circle idea is bad. Because now, I don't know, I still want to do it because it seems so cool. But yeah, minimalism does make sense. Minimalism fits in perfectly with the idea of no distractions. Yeah, I do really like your idea, Upgrade, because in landscape mode, that is like a clock, and times fit better on a long space rather than this tiny little space we have up here. I've never done an app in Godot where you switch between landscape and portrait. How hard is that to do? Because like I know, where is this? In the export settings, you pick your orientation. But I don't know if that's a default orientation or if you're stuck with that. Where the heck is this? I'm not seeing it for some reason. Maybe it's not in here. Maybe it's someplace else. I thought it was in here though. Pass through XR, graphics, launcher icons, package. Maybe it's not in here. Where is that? Maybe in project settings? Okay, it's in here. Then what are the options? I guess sensor, so that would be where you rotate it with your hands. Can we change this at runtime? Set to a portrait orientation. This project setting does not flip the project resolution. Blah 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 blah. Instead, you have to set. Oh, so we have to flip the resolution ourselves. That's fun. Let's go look in. Let's go look in the display server. Is it not called a display server in Godot 3? Am I integrating Godot 4 things into here? What is... Let's look at all the servers. Visual server. Is that what it is, Godot 3? And why didn't it open up the right thing? Visual server. Visual server. Go here. Server for anything visual. Environment set sky orientation. Let's maybe Google. Switch orientation. Switch orientation. We'll see what that does. Android orientation setting ignored when running APK. Always landscape. So this person is just changing the export settings, right? Oh, this is old. This is 2017. This is okay. Change orientation on mobile per scene from 2020. OS, set screen orientation. Why is it on OS? I feel like that should be on Visual Server. But let's go look at it. Let's go look at the docs for that. Or not Visual Server. Why am I... I wanted to go to OS. OS object. Screen orientation. Change the current screen orientation. Okay, so we could, slide between portrait and landscape. We have to swap the height and width ourselves. We could do it. We could do this. Upgrade used to work in a UX adjacent field. Awesome. Yeah, no, your suggestion is great. So, okay, let's just look at this whole thing from the perspective of orientations here. Does this UI make sense in this direction? Or should we go all in on landscape? Because, like, if I think about how much data we have here, we have very little data right here, right? We just have start. And in fact, we don't even really need the interruption button until we have started. I guess, like, if we did make this one be landscape, like, we would never have a space to put, like the app title and some kind of art. And I do kind of like having the timer, like, not the timer, but the part where you're entering the activity being portrait, because you have that drop-down list. Yeah, and like we're disabling this when we start the timer, but we actually don't even need it to be there. Any interface with typing required ideally should be portrait. Yeah, I agree, because So in here we have the drop-down list, and it makes the keyboard fit better. So yeah, I guess login, the keyboard will cover about here. And then, so do we have two scenes then? We have a scene where we start the timer, and then a scene where we're in the timer. Or is it the same scene and we're just like moving some stuff around? Yeah, I'd rather typing in portrait because typing in landscape is a pain. I agree. I agree. Well, so one of the advantages of having this be a single scene that is the timer is that we sorry for the yawn. That's terrible for streams. When we come to this scene, the first thing we do is we load the data from the remote database to see if we are not already in a timer, and then we adjust everything here to reflect whether or not we're in a timer or what state we're in actually. So if we had started a timer, started an interruption, the app crashes, then we open the app again, it brings us right back to being in this interrupted state. So it is kind of nice to have all of these things be in the same scene rather than actually switching scenes. So how do we do this? Boss MB is officially caught up. You keep the whole thing as is and add another scene for landscape. Yeah, I guess that is the cleanest thing from like from visual design perspective. But it is not ideal from a loading. Well, okay, no, maybe not. Maybe we can still load the data, but if we're running, not running, we switch all the way to the timer scene. So okay, so this becomes like a timer setup, or maybe you can make a maybe you can add a button to switch landscape after you've started a timer. Yeah, I mean we can do it all in the same scene. It's just a question of how easy or hard it is to build that. I could imagine some people not wanting to be in landscape too, because let's say you're not sitting at your desk. Let's say you're walking. I don't know why you would be doing a focused walking activity, but like then trying to do things with it in landscape. But why would you do that? Maybe I don't need to think about that. Actually, don't even need to worry about screen orientation if only the timer is started and we show a land. Don't need to worry about screen rotation if only after the timer is started we show a landscape timer. I'm not entirely sure I know what you mean there, but like just set a scene in landscape orientation. So just, you mean like just change this scene to landscape? So, okay, we need to have two buttons on the timer once it appears. Probably we don't want them to take up the whole bottom. We want them to be a little bit different than this. We still want to show what activity we're supposed to be doing, so we could show it in a different way. Okay, what was the last thing that we put into Git? so I can see if I want to tear this whole thing apart or not. Okay, so let me commit this removing the accept dialog. Remove accept dialog from timer screen. And now I am free to destroy everything. So the loading thing at the top doesn't. Okay, if we convert this scene from timer to let's change this into like timer timer setup or something like that. Then we have a button to enable minimal timer mode. Yeah, I mean, I think having an option makes sense, but it's still a question of, I'm still trying to figure out right now if we want to be in this scene or we need two scenes. So hang on, I'm going to duplicate this folder. I'm going to make this be timer setup. So now we have a timer. We'll rename all of these too. So rename timer setup. Rename timer setup. And I'm just going to open this up for a second so I can rename some stuff in here. Setup. And we're going to detach and attach our script. And attach timer setup. Okay, so now we have two completely separate scenes. No, if we keep this as is and add another scene for the black and white minimalist timer, you can make the scene just look like it's landscape mode without dealing with the OS orientation. Whatever the user taps, maybe double taps, the scene disappears, goes back to the timer, but with the controls. If they don't interact with the buttons after a certain amount of time, it will go back to distraction-free mode, showing only the timer. Okay. So I do think we need to mess with the OS stuff, because otherwise... because otherwise, like, how would it be orientation? The text would always be this way and not facing the other way. Unless your thinking is then the user, maybe we just enable the mode with the sensor, so now they can turn it if they want to, something like that. But I do like the idea of it coming in or going away depending on how much they're interacting. So we don't even need to have the buttons on the timer. That's interesting. And then you tap, and then you get back to the buttons. Okay, so then the split of the scenes would be timer and like distraction-free timer. I just don't know how that's going to play into orientation. Or are you just saying we're not going to deal with the landscape? You can just make the scene look like it's landscape mode. I mean, I don't know that I want to make it look like it's landscape mode without actually because I mean, I suppose I can like rotate the controls to face the other way, or rotate the timer to face the other way. Here's what I'm thinking. These are some amazing ideas. Technically, the app would technically still be portrait. You make the distraction-free mode that kicks in like a screensaver. Looks like it's landscape merely because the timer is sideways. So what's the advantage of faking landscape, though? I mean, I guess just simplicity from a code perspective. So then we just have the single scene. And we would add a new. We'll add a control to be the parent. So this would be like distraction-free mode, and let's say a color rect. Color rect would be black color rect, and then a label, which would be like this would be I don't know, timer label. And distraction-free mode, we would layout full rect, color rect, full rect, timer label. What is the best way to rotate this? How do we rotate this exactly? Okay, I guess in the rect. We'll put something in here, and 90 degrees. And how do we? If I say full rect, it goes in the way wrong direction. So we'll probably have to manage the we'll probably have to manage the dimensions of the rectangle ourselves, because this just does not work with the normal way of doing anchors and stuff. Because it appears as though the position is applied and then the rotation is applied. Or is there a clever way to do this with anchors? What if we are anchored? So what does left mean in this situation? If I say like 200, what does that mean? Okay, so if left is set to our width, I don't know, rotating this is gonna be kind of a pain. Screensaver, because the other scenes do not need to be landscape ever. Screensaver is the best analogy, I think, assuming the phone is laying somewhere flat as we do deep work. It makes sense because the NM time is just the entire screen, hence it's rotated 90 degrees and made landscape. I still have this feeling that maybe like taking advantage of like the OS landscape still kind of makes sense, because like let's say so my phone has this little door thing on it which I use to stand up my phone when I'm doing things, and if the app decided to rotate it so this way is down, that's great for me. If the app decided that this way is down, I can no longer use my little stand thing, right? Because it's built into it's part of the case of the phone. So if we like still decided we were going to switch to landscape, but like with the sensor enabled, I don't know. It also, like, the rotation really is weird. It's really weird because we're gonna have to manage our positions. We're gonna have to manage the size of this label ourselves in order to make it like fill up the whole screen. But yeah, here let's try. This is actually not getting us any closer to being able to make this app usable, because like what I really need is a way to view the data. But we only have about 15 minutes left, and 15 minutes isn't enough time to build, you know, the data view. So let's build this. Let's build this distraction-free mode, and let's build it where we actually do the operating system rotation. And okay, align center, v-align center. We need this to be huge. Let's go to our assets, fonts. Where do we have a font resource? Did we just bake it into our theme here? Yes, we did. So let's make this say, okay, fine, we will make it unique. Make unique, and we will save. We'll put this in assets, fonts, and we'll call this normal font, and then we will duplicate it, and we're going to make a big font, which we're going to take our same settings but just make this huge. I don't know, 128, how big is that? Let's go put that on our timer label here. Theme overrides, fonts, bring our big font in. That's pretty big. I think I even imagined it bigger though, and maybe we'll need two versions, like a one version for portrait and one version for landscape, because this is probably okay for portrait. I mean, what happens if you're working for a couple hours? Yeah, this is probably perfect for portrait. It feels off center though. Why does it feel off center? What is? I don't know why it feels off center, but it's fine. I think it's fine. And we want to have a different font. Let's duplicate this. Why am I not seeing duplicate button? There it is. And this will be, we'll call it landscape big font. And this will go even bigger, which I'm not entirely sure how to evaluate, but no, we'll go 256. What does that look like? Down here, landscape big font. That's huge. And that does kind of look like this could be that rotated. This might be too big. This might be too big. Let's try 196. We're working on powers of 2 for some reason. Yeah, let's say that's our landscape big font, and we're going to reassign this label to be the big font by default. And now we need to code up bringing in the distraction-free mode. Actually, I'm going to rename this so I can have a scene unique name. This is going to be big timer label. Big timer label, which will only show. Will it only show the normal time, like when we're in distraction, when we're in interrupted mode? Are we going to go into this? I think no. I think this will only show the time when we're good. If an interruption's going, we're not going to be here. So let's add a timer. We're going to call this distraction-free timer. And okay, we'll set this as a scene unique. And this is a scene unique. And this too. Okay. Now, how long do we want to go before the distraction-free timer kicks in? Don't want it to be too long. Say 10 seconds. And it is one shot. And we're going to need a thing where you touch this anywhere on this, and it will, or I guess we'll put that on the big timer label. So this would be GUI input, I guess. Well, let's start with getting it out there. Upgrade things 60 seconds. Well, let's at least keep it short for. Let's maybe even make it shorter for testing purposes. We can make it longer once we have it working. So okay, let's get down to this. Once we start a timer, once timer started happens, we want to start our. Oh, hang on. We need some onReady vars. OnReady var. We'll say distraction free timer equals this distraction free timer, not trimmer, timer. And we need the big timer label. Big timer label. Was there anything else we needed? Oh, we need a distraction-free mode because we need to animate that in. Although, are we animating that in with an animation player? Let's say we are. So I don't think we need this to be scene unique. Let's add an animation player. And we'll add a new animation. We'll call it start distraction free mode. And we are going to put the visible property on there and the, I guess, modulate. And do we already have a reset? Okay, so we want this to be not showing by default. So our reset should have this off, and we want it, I guess fully opaque is fine. So let's go back to our start distraction free mode. We're gonna have this come in, I don't know, 500 milliseconds or something. So 0.5. That might even be too long. Whatever, 0.3. And then we will start, hang on, we'll start over here with not visible, and we'll start over here with fully transparent, so alpha all the way down. And then at the 0.3, we're going to go visible. Let's do this with the inspector now. We'll go visible and fully opaque. So let's go back to the beginning. We will play. Oop, that wasn't right. Okay, I did this wrong. We don't need to mess with visible here, do we? At least not here. So let's delete this key, delete key, and this one. We want to, okay, so when we start the animation, it's going to become visible. Okay, so like that. So we'll set it as not visible to start with, which we need to get for the events to pass through. Ooh, let's see what's going on in chat. I think if it's a separate scene, you could implement a way to import custom scenes for the distraction-free mode and select the scene you want as a setting. So allow people to contribute custom scenes to implement cool stuff like the pie chart. Ah, that's a great idea, but probably another thing that sidetracks making an MVP. This whole thing has been a sidetrack. It's giving me an idea. Those things can be implemented. Yeah, I mean, thanks for the idea. That's a cool idea. But yeah, let's make this. And then I still do need the thing where we can look at the data in order to actually make use of this in life. So this will be another after the stream activity for me, maybe for the weekend to get that going. But let's see if we can't get this going. So, we are going to, oh, and we need the animation player. OnReady var animation player. Equals, and we'll just animation player. It's fine. So when we switch into the started mode, we need to start our distraction-free timer. And do we need to stop it? I think we do need to stop it to have the effect that I want it to have. Okay, I'm not sure about that. We'll start it here. And then we need to say when the timeout happens, we are going to, where is the thing it inserted? We are going to play the animation player, play start distraction free mode, and we need to have a thing that takes us out of distraction free mode once the big timer is touched or interacted with in any way. I think we probably want GUI input. Save you. And so then this would do Distraction. Oh, okay, so maybe I do need to get the distraction free mode node, but let's just distraction free mode. We'll just access it directly for time's sake. We'll say visible equals false. Oh, and we need to update that as well. So here we would say big timer label text equals time string. So it will have just the timer, but not the interruption information. So the distraction app paradox, trying to build the thing you need to not be distracted to finish the thing which is itself. Could you give us a heads up when you make the repo public? I did it on stream. Here, I'll put the link. I'll put the link in chat. The repo is public. You know what? I'm actually going to put it in Restream because I know there's some places that it won't sync to if I put it in. I have the animation set it to visible in its first keyframe. So, or visible equals false, yeah. So we should be good. We should be good. And yeah, okay, so any state change I think should stop the distraction timer. I think what we need to do here is say distraction free timer stop, and then here distraction free timer start when we start the thing, but we also need it to happen. We also need it to happen as soon as we hide it. So distraction free timer start, right? So as soon as we've hidden it. I hope this makes sense. Let's try it. Trying to assign label to variable of type timer. What are you saying? Line 26. Oh, I just typed timer for some reason. Thinko. All right, let's try this again. Okay, so we'll start a timer, and then let's wait 5 seconds. All right, and then I'm gonna touch a thing, which I didn't actually set this up right, did I? Actually, it should, any event, even moving the mouse, should have caused things to happen. What do I need to do here? So is it because we didn't set it to focused? I kind of don't want to set it to focused, though. Or do we need to put a script on it for this to work? Mouse entered, mouse exited. So this is not working. Do we need, let's just put a script on it. I know we could do this with a script. Where's the attach script button? Why is my brain not seeing it? There we go, attach script. And this will go under timer, big timer label. We're going to add a input, and we'll add a signal. We'll say timer touched, and we'll do some ifs or something, but for now let's just emit the signal right away, just because I need to know if this works. and we need to tell the universe that we've handled this input. Set input as handled. I don't know if input is right or if unhandled input is right. Probably unhandled input. Unhandled input. Okay. So then from here we need to not do this GUI event. We need to say on big timer touched. And we can connect that here. Disconnect this one. Touched, connect. And it brought us there, so we should be good. See if there's anything in the debugger that was yelling at me. No, not really. Okay, let's try this. And then if this works, I think the rest is going to have to be something that I do off stream because we are already after 12 p.m. my time. No, okay, moving the mouse did it. But what I really want is to look for specifically touch events or mouse events. But yeah, maybe even moving the mouse is fine as a way to undo it, because like that's what screensavers do, right? Any event coming in whatsoever. I'm surprised. Why is it not doing it now? If I click? Oh, this is super inconsistent. Why? What is happening? This is really weird. I don't know what I'm doing wrong exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna use this on my phone, but I need to be able to test it effectively. So that time moving the mouse totally got rid of it. Huh. Let's try in our big timer label. Let's in fact switch this to just input. Just input. Okay, there we go. Any input came into that node. All right. Okay, I think we're good. I think this is a start. This is a start of this functionality. The main thing that we need after this is the code to change us from the being fixed in portrait mode to being in sensor landscape mode, which would be where we're going to go to landscape, but we're going to let the sensor decide how that works, what it is. So let me commit this to Git, and then I'm going to look at chat, and then we are going to say goodbye for today. I need to delete some stuff that I added that I don't actually need here. Source main timer setup. That's not a thing anymore. Let's add everything else and see how that looks. We got our new font resources. Okay. I'm gonna commit this. Say start of a distraction free timer mode. Pushed, and I will come back to that later. Let's see what you folks have been saying. Boss MB missed it in the 2x speed race. Yeah. Can we make an invisible button? I mean, yeah, we shouldn't need that. I think we're good. I thought you were gonna use this on phone. Yep, you can emulate touch from mouse and other things. Yep. Yeah, I think we're good on the input stuff. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I had fun. I hope it wasn't too boring. Next week, we are going to be working on getting WebXR working in Godot 4. The goal that the Godot team has is to release Godot 4 at the beginning of next year. So we have the next 3-ish months to get WebXR into shape. And so, like I said many times actually on stream, as soon as the time for us to start getting WebXR into Godot 4 happens, I'm going to drop everything and do that. So we are dropping everything and doing that. In any case, thanks everyone for coming. I hope you all have a good weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.